Hey, je kijkt naar FASHIONCLASH Festival 2022. Ik ben Christy Gunn, ik ben copywriter en teamlid van FASHIONCLASH. Graag wil ik het programma The Clash House aankondigen. The Clash House is een showcase- en ontwikkelprogramma voor een nieuwe generatie ontwerpers die zich richt op crossovers tussen mode en andere kunstdisciplines, met name podiumkunsten. Deze modemakers onderzoeken alternatieve manieren om mode te maken en te presenteren met de nadruk op ethische thema's en storytelling. Deelnemers van de Clash House worden een coachingtraject aangeboden waarbij ze ondersteund worden door theatermakers. Het doel van dit traject is om de ontwerpers te stimuleren in het experimenteren met presentatievormen en om bij te dragen aan de vernieuwing van het vakgebied en het creëren van een unieke beleving voor het publiek. Ik wens je veel kijkplezier met de Clash House. Bekijk ook de andere programma-onderdelen van FASHIONCLASH Festival op dit platform of bezoek www.fashionclash.nl.
Hello everyone, good evening, welcome to FASHIONCLASH. How are you doing tonight? Do you remember me? I was here yesterday, but I had a beard and another outfit. So welcome to the Clash House. The Clash House is a development program for new generations of makers. The focus of this program is on researching crossovers between other art disciplines and especially performing arts. The emphasis for the makers is to go into the ways of storytelling, movement, to find new ways to present their fashion and their craftsmanship. So they get paired with performance makers, theater makers for I think a period of 1 year, to go into a more deeper research on how to express their world beyond the craftsmanship of the clothing. My name is Araya Lester, just for the ones that didn't come yesterday. You should have been here. And let's start. I think that what is very important about this program is that these guys here are really finding new ways to create what they do. And maybe to strive together towards a new industry, it is important also to make emphasis on the way you look at this work. Many times, for example, for me as a performance artist, I'm always demanded to create something vanguardist, something new, but oftentimes I find a very rigid posture from the viewer. So I would like today, as I did yesterday, to emphasize, try to open your mind and digest and see what you're going to be presented with, and we take it from there. We're going to start tonight with the work of Elliot Collective. Elliot is a brand and collective funded by Jolien Quackenbos and Britt Lieberg. They come from Artes Fashion Design Program. Elliot is a collaboration between fashion, art, and performance. It is an ongoing research on movement, space, color, and contrast. Within Elliot, they say, we create garments for everyday wear, unpolished, but with care. All garments are unique and made in the moment because we rather create than produce. Elliot is innovation within nostalgia, where craft and intuition are most important. Please, a warm applause for Elliot Collective. So thank you for your work. I saw your work 1 year ago. We were sharing the stage in the open mic night. And it's really beautiful to see how you have decided to stick to your theme, your line of investigation and researching how to keep on working with materials through time and space. So I was wondering, like, what is your relationship between process and product making? Like, do you think like this is something that you will keep on researching on?
Well, actually, movement and researching with the body is part of our way of researching. So this is definitely a way that will keep on going. For us, last year we entered the FASHIONCLASH Festival as well. And for this project, we were so much more into experimenting and let it happen on the stage and see what comes out of the movement. And that is actually a big part of our process and how we work in the studio as well. So yeah, we will definitely keep on researching that.
I was curious as well, like, what are the layers of your process? Do you start with movement research, and when you start doing so, do you already have some materials laid down in the studio for you, or does it come from a more like very body investigation-like principle? Like, what's the process to arrive to this very complex form of making?
Yeah, I think we start with the body. For us, the body is really important because it makes the garment move. So it's good in our research, we find to use the body immediately and explore with the body and with fabric, and that will create shapes that we can't really think of before moving. Or, yeah, for us it's really important. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your work, and a big warm round of applause for Elliot's collective. Thank you. Thank you. I would like to introduce you now to the work of Katharina Spitz, Play Harder. Katharina has a degree in couture, dressmaker, women's wear at P.O. O'Kan Couture Düsseldorf, and also a bachelor degree of arts and fashion design in UDK Berlin. Her work aims at the untangling of her social fabrics through matter, form, and spirit. She understands herself as a designer, craftswoman, and researcher. Crafting and theoretical research are intrinsic to her process and artistic practice. Within her design processes, transdisciplinarity and collaboration are as important as spontaneity, precision, and playfulness. She seeks ways to open new perspectives of being in a world suffering from pollution, inequality, misogyny, and alienation. She believes it's her design responsibility to understand and stress social conflicts in our time and to create a structural influence for better. Please, this is the work of Katharina Spitz.
We don't explain play by words we're thinking. The only way to learn about play is to experience play through playing.
We don't need more objects
Play
without
also
soul,
a strategy
and we also
against
don't need more
distance and
trends
passion
that
production,
are dictated from
and against
above.
productivity.
What we really
And
need
usability
is
plays
a
are
discourse
openly
about
present
the way
in
we
our
are
lives.
living together,
We live in a society
about how we are expressing ourselves as a community, about what our relation to our material surroundings.
And we can go even further with this exclusion of the play from the realm of great categorical contradictions. If play lies outside the distinction of wisdom and absurdity, outside that of truth and untruth, it is also beyond that of good and evil. In the play itself, though, it is an activity of the mind. There is no moral function, neither virtue nor sin.
We can gain access to our social surrounding again.
We don't explain play by words.
The play takes place only for the sake of the play itself. There must not be another reason or goal for the playful
What it
interaction.
could be in relation with each other,
When we play,
in relation to our
we have our
surroundings,
ability to quickly
and
and
a
fairly
strategy
discuss and reply with each other's
reappropriate
reflection.
our
Today we are
environments.
free from laws, ideas, and ideologies that are never to be present from our
Free activity, separated from ordinary life. It is not guided by the pursuit of material wealth.
The play, however,
Play
is
both hearing and
The
action.
outcome
It
will most
develops
likely
its
be
own
very
boundaries
unpractical.
So these ideologies
And
and ideas
We live in a
don't have to
society
be
but
part of
extremely
shaped by
functional
various
for
structures.
playful
This is
interactions.
giving us
It
a lot
shapes
of
the way we dress,
and also
think,
possibility
How
to
does it
try
and interact with each other
explore and
and the things
negotiate
around
in a
us.
very different way.
There are no rules other than rules that
And
players
though I can
decide.
hide my cold gaze and you can shake my hand and feel flesh gripping yours and maybe you can even sense our lifestyles are probably comparable, I simply am not there.
each other.
All players
The
follow
rules
the
determine how we
equally
interact with
and
each other and the
unconditionally.
objects in between us.
I think the main reason
Play
is that
enables
we often
us to regain access to the
Rules
material
define
The idea
world.
of the creation of play
and/or
makes
with
it
the
possible
objects.
to understand play as a situated practice.
We do need
However,
this
this
discussion
This is
about
a
fashion.
Man
situated
only
practice
plays when he's in
that
the
needs to
fullest
be
sense of the
enacted
word a human
Understanding
being.
fashion as a
And he
playful
is only
interactive
fully a
practice
human being
brings
when
it
he
back to the
plays.
essence of
The
what
act
it
of
could be.
And that is
dressing
because
is the
various
medium
relation
relation
with
with
each
playing
other,
community to
relation to
grasp
our
prevailing
material
structural
surroundings,
influences of our
and a
time.
strategy to reappropriate
How
our
play
environment.
is our empowering strategy.
All the thinking and all the criticism can never be
I
constructive.
feel lethal on
Only
the verge
oppositional.
of frenzy.
If it's only a
I think
straight
my
no
mask
to
of
what
sanity
already
is about to
exists.
slip.
It can only be constructive if it's already with one foot in the new, still understanding the old. Then we can think of a vision that can be constructively critical. Play offers us a strategy to take a step further from where we are currently at and try and discuss future scenarios in a safe space of fair negotiation. A strategy to develop a new vision together.
Welcome on stage, Katharina Spitz. Hey, how are you doing?
I'm good.
I'm very glad to see your performance again, because the principal is there, but it was a totally different show from this afternoon. And I'm very curious, earlier in the afternoon we were talking about the origin of your work and this frustration of witnessing a society that is alienated in the way material is being created, and your frustration with intellectualization of processes that are not linked to a bodily experience, to intuition. You said, I'm going to quote you, "I found myself in the need of creating a space, a playground, where people can decide how to play a role and who they want to be." So can you tell us about everything that is behind the making of this collection?
Yes, so as everything, but I think it was right what you said. And that you noticed that it was a totally different thing again is because the idea is that we can, or the playing community can constantly recreate their communal impression by their own rules without like other ideologies or laws being like applicable in the playground. That would be one thing to answer. The rest you have to ask it again.
No, maybe I answered with the question already, the answer you had to give. But for me, it was very interesting. You were talking about selecting random pieces of clothes, making scores for the performers to use them in a certain way, and then later making of that choices fashion garments. So could you tell how all this play and improvisation transformed into specific choices to create this collection?
Yes, so the rules for them to play, I didn't make them. So it was more like I created the space for people to be in the space, make their own rules, and then act accordingly, and interact with garments. And then on basis of the observation of this play, I would design. So also, yeah, this is very conceptual, being a project asking for less like overthinking, but yes.
Thank you, Katharina, and thank you for your work. A warm applause. Thank you. So, this is the setup for the work of Maya Kaplan, Human Dolls. Maya comes from the Fashion Design Academy Bezalel, Art and Design of Jerusalem. She's an acrobat and a dancer, but also a fashion and accessory designer. Her designs focus on innovative performance accessories for circus and movement arts. Therefore, she creates a whole experience of performance combined with extraordinary accessories and outfits. She says, "In my works, I am the designer and the performer. I combine craft and digital technologies like 3D body scans and modeling to achieve a perfect fit for the moving body and certain positions and reduce waste in the developing process." Big applause for Maya Kaplan.
מאלה, איך קוראים לך היום?
קורל.
קוראים לך קורל?
ואני בת 4.
תשאירי לה מעבר לגדר.
מעבר לגדר?
אבל יפה, שהיא תבין.
מעבר לגדר, אבל יוצא מחבר גדל, תראה לה ביזה. מה נתן לגולת? ותראה לה ביזה. צ'וט!
עוד פעם, אבל יותר ברור.
ולגדר, ירדה לה אפרון ועשה לה טוק טוק טוק.
לא, עכשיו יפה. שאני אעזור לך?
לא.
נו, אז תשאירי.
ועבר לגדר, ובחדר, נבע נתן בגולת, ועושה לה פוק.
יופי. את רוצה להגיד משהו לנועלה?
לא. פיל יש חלק קרוב, וקוראים לו חלק קרוב ועוד על הראש.
יופי, עכשיו תעשי את הדקלום של הגן.
אבל אני לא יודעת אותו. שהפיל הוא מכניס את האף לכל מקום, נשבר לו האף בום על הראש.
טוב, נו, עכשיו תעשי את הדקלום שאורנה לימדה אתכם.
רגע.
כן, תספרי לאבא סיפור, מרי. ספרי.
בקר, היה פנולי, ובום, פקעה, אבל לא התעוצץ. התאר אותי, פקעה, גם מאוד. אז ילדים, וכאוב. ובלון בום, לקעה, הבלון התעוצץ. יקער עוד, בקעה לאותי. לדף התתוי. ובלוני הוא לטיול, ובדליה לקט גם לטיול. בבו! טבקת! היה בובינולות, צעירו דובינולו. עכשיו דובינולו, צועי דובינולו.
So Maya asked me that she needed some time to recover her breath. So I think that it's very nice that we can support that moment and just like, no pressure, let's chill here together and wait.
Okay.
How are you feeling? Let's come a little bit forward. Yeah. Okay. Wow, very intense. Thank you.
Yes.
I think it's very interesting the way these different disciplines cross paths in your life. You told me that you were an acrobat since 4 years old. So I think we would be very curious to know about when did design started to influence your acrobatic practice? Like, how did you go from that space into the creation of this world and all these props?
So body movement always was a way for me to release emotions, and I think when I studied design, I was directly think how I can combine it with my movements, and I started to invent this crazy acrobatics accessories. Like I was specializing in making shoes, so I decided to make shoes for the hands, so I can walk on my hands, and then I made those shoes that I can hang from the ceiling with the ropes in it. So I was and I was exploring making different clothing that could deal with the friction that we have when we practice acrobatics. We have to wear a lot of layers, so I was always interested in how I can develop this in a way that can help me to do better things.
I would like to quote a phrase that you said, reinventing physical disciplines through fashion. So in some way also the world informing how you move and how you display your body within the acrobatic frame. You also spoke something about the practice of losing control and how your work is often based on the philosophical balance of how much autonomy do we have in our own life, or we are being controlled by the system. So can you explain us a little bit the concept of this work about the dolls?
Yes. Always when I create something, I'm starting with going deep inside and looking for a subject that really triggers me. And this project starts from thinking about my image as a puppet in the world, and how much control I have in my life, and how can I achieve more control through losing control. So the mechanism is like I control my movement, but it also controls me because I connect to myself, and yeah.
And I think that's the play and balance that we see when you are suspended on the air. So thank you so much, Maya, for your work, and big applause, please. Thank you. Now I will present you the work of Dirk Vaessen. It's called Brave Hendrik's New Identities, Chapter 2. Dirk comes from Artes, with a degree HBO in product design and a master in footwear in London College of Fashion. Dirk Vaessen is an artist designer who works mainly around the human body. He works with socially engaged subjects such as identity and sexuality. He tries to provoke the audience, finding reactions that make people think again about what it means to be normal and what it means to be a human in the world today. The work of Dirk produces mostly conceptual work design, but also to be work and be worn on a daily basis, very theatrical work. So, big applause for Dirk Vaessen.
Boom. Boom.
Hey, Dirk. Resignifying identity through movement and posture. Movement as an accessory. Fashion as the guideline. I found this statement from you quite interesting in terms of like what is to wear movement and how movement informs the way we wear things. How is the process of making these pieces for you?
This process is actually some kind of game for me because I'm constantly like researching who I am in my identity, and then I found out that most people are like recognized by the way they walk and move. So that's one of my biggest inspiration as a designer, like redesigning the way of walking and moving, and then I use myself as my biggest inspiration.
Yeah, and I saw your last work, and it was very interesting that I think you were working more on constriction and like restricting the body, and now this work is more about like getting moved by the shapes, influenced, and creating identity through texture. So my question is like, who is Brave Hendrik? Because it feels that identity is an important part of this work we saw. So I'm curious, like, who is that person, and like what is the conceptual relationship of the work with it?
So first of all, Brave Hendrik is my alter ego. So I design and create everything from my alter ego. I'm just looking at my alter ego as some person who lives in the future, who doesn't look like identity as male or female, but just how to be human. And what drives me as a designer a lot is how this future perspective will look like. And that's also the inspiration that I use a lot for like all the choices that I make in all my designs.
And these characters or personages that are on stage are what are they? Are they part of this personality? What's the concept behind that?
So all these characters and all these colors are like part of me. So in this research, I was looking at different parts of me and how they actually create me. So first I was like, okay, who am I if I'm shy? Who am I if I'm funny? Or who am I if I'm like this very strong person? But then it was some kind of research, and in the end I noticed that I need all these parts, and that's why in the end they were like reshaping my suit together, because they are all part of me.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for your work. The evening goes very fast, so we have the last participant of today, Niko Marković, from the Fashion University of Applied Arts in Vienna. When I was reading about him and trying to find about his work, I came across a text which I found really relevant to just read, because many times I think when we come to witness work in this kind of context, we are just like looking for that conceptual breakdown, but sometimes it's just nice to get a bit of poetry and let our imagination flow and approach the work from a more mysterious way. And in this way, by reading this text, I think I'm honoring a little bit what we're going to see with this last show. The text goes like this, written by Niko. My great-grandfather died the same year I was born. He was a tailor for several surrounding villages all his time. He tended to sew at night when evening dies. Whenever I'm suggested to try getting up early in the morning and sewing my garments in daylight, I feel my lineage lamenting. Long have I departed my motivations from those of craft and supply, and separated myself from the unknown and somewhat strange spirits of my ancestors. But in the nights of manic insomnias, they have summoned and shown me that the same transgenerational distress runs the very wellspring with the continuity and causality. For such like reasons, I make clothes. A warm applause for Niko Marković.
smoking my tobacco allergies away. Pušim cigaru za cigarom I alergije nestaju. I'm chain smoking, my tobacco allergies are gone. Cigara za cigarom me guši. Smijem se. Smijemo se. Trkavam od smeha. Smijemo se. Trkavam. Srbija je prva u Evropi po broju pušača. Pušenje ubija, duvanski dim šteti vama I ljudima oko vas. Disclaimer: the cigarettes on the stage are fake, 100% nicotine free. Dad, the way you were chain smoking in the car while I was suffocating and had nowhere to flee, trapped on the back seat with my damn allergies, and you always drove real fast as if we were in a drag race. Dad, I dragged it all with me to the EU. Smijem se na srpskom, a to je mnogo drugačiji prozvukao smeh, ali ko će to čuti? Možda neko ko se smeje na barem 2 jezika. I'm reluctantly laughing in Serbian, the deep, blow-up, fractured sound that differs from my cautious laughter in English. Pušenje ubija, duvanski dim šteti vama I ljudima oko vas. Ja se to dešava kad ja neću. Tvoje pušenje će me ubiti. Duvanski dim šteti ljudima oko tebe. Na primjer, tvom alergičnom detetu. Moje pušenje će me ubiti. Ali pušenje ne ubija zaista. Nobody lights up like Balkans, where average annual consumption can exceed 2,000 cigarettes per person. The very highest rate is in Serbia, according to data by the World Lung Foundation and American Cancer Society. Disclaimer: the cigarettes on stage are herbal, 100% nicotine free. Dad, do you remember when I was a child, my style of playing football was to be the wall. I would pray that a ball hits the stomach or the face. Better ball than the teammates. Penalties were the only rule I understood. They would make teams. Me and the fat boy, we counted as one player. Računali smo se kao jedan igrač. 1,000 kilometers away from you, Dad, I still count as half a person. EU treats me like shit, and here I have no goal to keep. Pušenje ubija, duvanski tim šteti vama I ljudima oko vas, ali svuda je već zabranjeno. To se samo mi samo ubijamo. Can they recognize a Serbian by the plump shape of their head, or by the fashion in which they walk, with wooden limbs connected with barbed wire? You taught me how to walk, Dad. You should know. Remember, having walked behind me, you would kick my legs so that I step more properly. I walked with my feet facing too much to the inside. It made me a Bambi on ice, a burglar behind the one-way mirror, but fortunately it also taught me that every step matters. Pušenje ubija, duvanski tim šteti vama I ljudima oko vas. That day of your drag race, I opened the door of a car at full speed. My body glided like rubber against the ticklish road. I waved at you, and the car stopped. I watched your forehead hit the rear window, having caught a glimpse of your howling eyes burning in white smoke, cigarette smoke, burning smoke. The car explodes. Dad, I just wish the world could love me back.
Hello again. Father, fire and destroying, water, healing. Can you tell us a little bit about these keywords and the symbology behind your work?
Yes. So most of the garments that I inherited from my father actually have cigarette holes in them. My whole family is chain smoking. This project was actually reflecting on this, on my journey from tobacco allergies, then the addiction and recovery, and it is also about how destruction can be healing if managed with right intention.
All right, shall we stand up because we have a stage change. You said this afternoon something quite interesting. I like to say that I work rather on the creation methodologies of dressing and approaching garments more than making fashion pieces. So tell us more, like, how was the process to come with the performance, with everything that you guys are wearing, the print? Is it all coming from the same source?
Yeah, so for me, each garment has its unique history, and I think mostly in fashion it is completely overlooked, and what is appreciated is novelty and newness. So with my project, I kind of wanted to make this experience of a garment my design insignia, and I also wanted to disrupt the way fashion is produced and reproduced by desecrating something that is maybe somehow wholesome, like a silky fine garment, something that shouldn't be touched or should be really preserved in like nice shape with no holes and wrinkles. And I think that's it.
Are all the pieces made by you, the pieces, the chess pieces, and also the artwork?
Yeah, all those sculptural pieces as well are made by me. Also, like, all sewn by me.
Okay, well, thank you, Niko, so much for your work. A warm applause, Niko Marković. Well, I think this was the end of the evening. It was a very different evening than last night, and I think it's very nice to see how the creative world of people can also change the way we perceive ourselves and we perceive the space. This is the end of the Clash House, and before we leave, I want to tell you about other things that are happening around Clash Festival, Fashion Clash Festival tomorrow. We have 3 exhibitions from the new Fashion Narratives program in Bureau Europa, Mares, and Pizzeria da Nonna. There is a fashion film and video screening at Lumière, and there is the performance, Who Cares What You Wear, which is a performance actually produced by Fashion Clash, which talks a bit about taking more conscious approach and idea of how you use and wear fashion. That is going to happen at the Brandweer Canteen twice in the morning and in the afternoon. Lastly, there is the whole program is going to be probably most of the program is going to be online from tomorrow on at 16. So to access all of this and to get your ticket, you can go to www.fashionclash.nl. And that's it. See you next year. Thank you.